So the very next thing that I struggled with, I think this is that we're on like number 5 now, was holidays. Since I had already had Thanksgiving, the next holiday was Christmas. Jeff's family, like his dad's side of the family, they have like a gift exchange and a supper like the night before or a couple nights before. And so we were running late to get to that, so we just stopped at Costco and got like a veggie platter, which comes with like a dip that's not vegan. But I really like the bell peppers on that. They're very tasty and fresh. So anyways, I just made sure not to eat that. And like nowadays I wouldn't even buy those kind of veggie platters myself, because you're still supporting, like, you're still purchasing it, right? Even if you don't eat it. That's just me personally. But anyways, so basically, I was still very new at being vegan at this point. It was like 2 months being vegan, so most people didn't know I was vegan yet. So contrary to popular belief, vegans don't always go out shouting, "I'm vegan! Woo!" Like, if you're friends with me on Facebook, yes, you will know, because I don't shut up about it on social media. But in person, like when I'm first meeting someone, I don't usually talk about it unless we're eating out. Then I usually have to ask the waitress, like, for a vegan, like which options are vegan or something like that, and people can guess. Or if you're just like eating at work and you're just like eating food and like people are looking at you and they're like, "Oh, are you vegetarian?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm actually vegan." So like a lot of times people just end up asking you. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. So yeah, since most people didn't realize that I was vegan, nothing was vegan there. I didn't really want to make a big deal about it or anything like that, so I hadn't like talked about it too much before. Like basically the only person that knew was like Jeff's parents. But yeah, so it wasn't a big deal because like I did have the vegetables, so I just went for seconds and thirds of that and snacked on that throughout the night. And then there's also like pretzels or chips or nuts or something that I snacked on as well. And then like, yeah, it wasn't like the Christmas dinner, you know, it was just like a get together kind of thing with a gift exchange. So but for the actual Christmas dinner, we had it at Jeff's parents' place, and yeah, we made, I think everything was vegan except for like 3 items. Jeff even made like a gravy that was amazing. It was amazing. I think it tasted better than like actual gravy from the, do you call it the broth from the chicken? Turkey? Sorry, the turkey. Gosh, I can't stop burping. Yeah, anyways, it tasted really good, and we just made a whole bunch of stuff. And so I guess that's another thing that I would, so something that I would suggest basically is when you're going to like Christmas dinner, Easter dinner, whatever, big holiday dinners or big get-togethers with family, I would suggest to like make your own food, like maybe even bring some produce. I always like bring a whole bunch of produce, especially when I'm new, like a new vegan going to someone's house that's like never had me over yet as a vegan. Like I don't want to expect them to cook for me and that sort of thing. So what I did is I just brought a bunch of like produce and I made food there. And when you do it that way, then the people can see, they can see how easy it is to make vegan food, or they can just figure out like how to make vegan food, you know? The problem with that sometimes though is like there was one Easter recently where I was trying to go all out because like I was trying to impress people, right? And I think my grandma was like, "Wow, that looks like a lot of work." When really in reality, veganism or any type of eating of any type of food can be difficult or not difficult. It just depends on how much effort you want to put into it, how much stuff you want to put into it, what kind of recipes you want to make. There's easy recipes and hard recipes. So yeah, I was kind of going all out and I was trying to like make all these different types of dishes. But I think for the Christmas one, it worked out good. Like it wasn't too many. I was still stressing out a little bit, but like I feel like even if I wasn't vegan and I was making a big meal for people, like with like a lot of dishes, like I feel like I would still be stressed out. Like that's just the way I am, because I don't know how to I don't know how to like prepare things and figure out like this goes in at this time and this goes in at this time. I'm always like cooking things in the wrong order. So yeah, I'm just learning. I'm a noob. I'm not even 30 yet, right? I'm still new at this. So anyways, back to that group get together thingy at Jeff's dad's side of the family's place. There was like these cabbage rolls, and I remember getting excited and then finding out there was beef in them, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was trying to like hide my disappointment, like because like I love cabbage rolls, and it's it had been a long time since I had cabbage rolls, but the lady that made them seemed to like feel really bad. But like it's not her fault. She didn't know, and like, you know, if that's what she eats, that's what she eats. You know, like might make me sad, but like, you know, you can't like tell everyone just to go vegan, right? Like just because you went vegan, that's not how it works. You gotta lead by example. So the other thing with holidays is a lot of times people will have lots of questions. And so sometimes it's a little overwhelming because, especially when you're new to being vegan, like I was only vegan for a couple months. So it's kind of funny because a girl actually asked me, but what about eggs? And honestly, that's the reason why I went vegan. But like my brain wasn't thinking that because I'm still kind of confused about this, okay? Like the video was showing turkeys being ground up alive, right? And turkeys lay eggs, right? It's so stupid when it comes to farm animals. So do you buy turkey eggs at the store, or is it just chicken eggs? I always thought it was chicken eggs. So that's the reason why I was confused, because when she said, but what about eggs? The video I had watched was like talking about turkeys because it was around Thanksgiving. So unless that video was kind of fibbing on some of the details, which I really hope they weren't, because that always pisses me off when like vegan videos kind of fib the truth a bit. I think you should always just tell the truth, because the actual truth is enough. It's more than enough. Anyways, so that's the reason why I was a little bit confused, and that's kind of funny because that's the reason why I went vegan. So I wasn't able to like answer that. I was like, I'm not sure actually. So what you can do in those scenarios is just be like, you know what, I'm actually new to being vegan and I don't have all the facts. How about I send you the information later? Just makes things simpler, and then it prevents arguing. Like I've honestly never gotten to the point where I've like had a really heated, angry argument with anyone. And I think it's just could be because I'm lucky, maybe. Like maybe some people's families are assholes. Could be it. But I think that also sometimes vegans can feel overwhelmed because when they're asked all these questions, and so maybe sometimes when they're replying, the answers come out a little bit hostile. So that's why I just think that it can be better to just be like, how about I just like send you some links later, because I can't really put it into words very well myself. And I think that that's a really good answer. If you know the answers to questions that people ask, then by all means feel free to talk about it, but I really do strongly suggest to not let your emotions get to you when you do this. When people are asking, it's because they're curious. Maybe they do have a little bit of empathy for it, but mostly they're just like curious. Sometimes people are just doing it just to poke fun at you and like to see if they can get you riled up. And honestly, if you can sense that, then just don't answer them. Just tell them, oh, I'll send you information later, and just forget about it. You know, just forget about it. But yeah, if you have the information, then by all means lay it out to them. Sometimes, like I've heard people say that sometimes like in a big group setting, it's not good to do that, because then someone else that's listening might get like angry and they might like say something and then it's like this big fight. I've never experienced that yet. But yeah, usually I don't really go into great lengths of describing things. I usually just describe it a bit. And that seems to be that. And then they'll usually ask more and more questions, and some things are like health related, which I don't actually know a whole lot about. I mostly only know about like, for like the compassionate reasons to go vegan, because I've researched extensively into that. But yeah, just talk about what you know and try to do it in a compassionate way. Basically what my rule of thumb is to just like talk to people the way you would have wanted to be talked to before you went vegan. Like if you imagine you're the person asking, but where do you get your protein? I know we get asked that question a lot. Yeah, so I'll get to that in a minute, but basically just imagine that you are that person and talk to them in that way, like just the way that you would have wanted to be had things explained to. Don't talk to them condescendingly like, this is the way it is, why aren't you vegan yet? People just tune you out. Yeah. So by not focusing on what they're eating can help you from preventing you from feeling really sad and angry and all that. And yeah, that can just be like really helpful. That is another thing that I don't like about being vegan though, is having to suppress that and to like go inside yourself for like however long it takes for people to eat and to like clear the way of the table, because sometimes So it just makes me sad. It's not that I think I'm better than anyone else. It just makes me sad to see people that I love eating animal products, and I don't know, is something that takes getting used to. And another thing that I don't like about, or that I had found to be a little bit of a struggle for the holidays, was smelling turkey being cooked in the house all day long. I didn't really realize that it was gonna smell so bad. The last time I had to smell that, it wasn't as bad, but the very first time, for some reason, it was just very strong. So I basically just went into another room for a little while, and then once it was supper time, came back out. I felt a little antisocial, but I think I've done that before. Sorry, I'm an antisocial person sometimes. Oops. So even though Jeff isn't vegan, he wasn't eating like a whole lot of animal products when I went vegan. He would basically have like bacon and eggs and sausage sometimes, and cheese. And so I didn't have to like smell it very often. And so when you go like 2 months without smelling it ever, except for sometimes when you go into a food court or to a restaurant or something like that, it can be very shocking to like smell it again. So that's just something that I guess to give you a heads up on. Might seem obvious to some people, but it kind of shocked me. I wasn't expecting to be so grossed out. Yeah. Sorry if that makes me sound like a stuck-up vegan to all you non-vegans that are watching, but it's just the truth.